What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Episode 60 in the mix, big baby. Before we get started, we got a special guest. It's Darren Mola. You know what time it is. If you got yourself an Android and or an iPhone, do yourself a favor, download the FTX app. Stay up to date with the latest cryptocurrencies and NFTs. Without further ado, I am your host, Gaddis TV. What's going on, y'all? And let's get to it. All right, and we are live and direct. So first off, I want to say it's Darren Mola. One, thank you for coming out and taking some time out of your evening, and I guess showing some love and just speaking with us. So I thank you for that.
GM, you're welcome.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for having me.
100%, man. So usually how we started off, because a lot of people realistically will kind of know who you are from one way or another. For the people that might not, doesn't matter if it's now, tomorrow, anything like that. Quick little background, I guess, about yourself. One, what were you doing, I guess, before the crypto scene, before that? And I guess for this one, a lot of people, I guess, probably already know you're a musician or intact with music. So when did, I guess, all that start happening? What's your background?
Absolutely. It's crazy. I guess I'll give you like a crash course on my life, man. Long story short, born and raised in Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria. So I am Nigerian. Moved to the States for my college education. Got my undergraduate degree and my master's in business administration. But I always like to say this, that I feel like music chose me, because in a time when all my friends were getting jobs at majors like with like KPMG and Deloitte and Goldman Sachs, I was like hustling to freaking get a music deal or whatnot. And as time went on, with a lot of many things in the framework, from sleeping on couches to crashing inefficiencies, to moving to LA with a one-way ticket and all the above, to being in a deal and losing that deal and situation, I finally, caught a break and got signed to Sony. And ever since, it's just been a movie ever since, just been vibing. I've worked on records for, just a bunch of names in the Latin music industry, from Maui Reiki, which they're signed to Sony out here, to Dread Marai, who's one of the biggest like reggae artists in Argentina. And then in the pop side of things, I've worked with Kesha. I've worked with it's a lot. I can't even think off the top. Just a bunch of people, Danny Ocean. And I guess one of my most notable credits, especially within the NFT space, was the work I did on the SpongeBob SquarePants on the Run movie soundtrack. I did the record F is for Friends. I produced it and I co-wrote it. And it featured Becky G and Trevor Daniel and Tiny. And Tiny is responsible for at least half of what you hear from the Latin music, including I Like It Like That for Cardi B and a bunch of other records. And so I've touched a bunch of records here and there. So prior to crypto/NFTs, I was doing music, and I'm still doing music. It still is the gig. I'm still very much signed to Sony. I'm also a performing artist myself. I've been able to put out records here and there. I think last year I could also say I caught like somewhat of a break also with my collab album, and it ended the year with 40 million streams. And been trading NFTs since July last year. But yeah.
Nice. You kind of mentioned it a little bit. I guess with the music scene on that one, or you say you touched him, you know what I mean? Are you, I guess, more on the producer side? I guess you have your own, because I've listened to it on Spotify as well. I've done some research, but I guess did you go more towards the producing, things like that? Or I guess what do you mean when you touch the the music, the label, the song, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So like I function as both. I get to work within the confines of production and songwriting, and I also get to work as an artist myself, which is a luxury not a lot of people have. Just the ability to, be an artist and also be, be something for other people. So oftentimes I get in the studio and I get to You know what I mean? Like my job description as a signed music producer literally is to go to studios and create back-end tracks for a lot of these artists, in addition to writing ideas for them and maybe even going as far as writing the songs. Um, I'm able to juggle that. So that, and then on the flip side, I also perform as an artist myself, where I get to release my own music, and then so yeah.
Nice. On I guess with the Sony, because you signed with them, how long have you been with Sony? And then might sound like a silly question, honestly, but I mean I think I know the answer. But do you like things like this, just like a random podcast stuff like that? Like, do you have to get permission, things like that, or if it was more like, hey,
Nah,
about to sing a song, and you're like, oh, hold on, Big Pimpin', you know?
nah, nah. So here's the thing: the beauty of what I've been able to do is, by some form of divine, or like I guess arrangement or confluence of events over the past few years, I've been able to maintain my independence as an artist. What I have is a publishing deal, and essentially what that does is you have major record labels where you get, certain placements as an artist. So say for example, I could get placed in a movie or on an album or a major album and all the above. And in the United States and other parts of the world with very structured like music society systems. You have these things called PROs, publishing rights organizations, that basically collect your royalties. And so my publishing company helps me collect my publishing royalties essentially, because you need someone to get it there for you. Because if you have a song that goes crazy or viral and it gets published and you don't have a pub deal or you don't have your publishing set up, your money's just stuck somewhere in the cloud. So that's basically that. No one has to, no one's. I don't have to take permission from anyone. I technically am my own boss. So, yeah.
Strong, heard that. I guess with because I know you said you were always grinding, or had a passion for music. Shoot. Or I guess one how yeah when have how long have you been signed with Sony? Was that I guess recently, last couple
2019.
years?
No,
2019.
2019. So basically
Nice.
3 years now.
Strong. With I guess with that when I don't know when I guess when was that first time? I guess when you first thought like you know what I mean like music is my thing. Music is my the way I want to go too. You know what I mean? What, was it always something like that, or um, did you always have that music vibe? I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I always did. I grew up in a musical home. I was raised in the church, so my parents were ministers, and so I'd always be in my dad's church playing the drums and all that stuff. But then on the flip side, my mom was also a musician in Nigeria, and she had a couple of pretty huge albums and records. And I remember like the first time I got in the studio was like probably when I was like 11, or 12.
Nice.
I'll never forget. Which is really crazy because today, I have my studio set up. I mean, outside, I work outside of, in studios, but every so often I also have a setup at home. And, it's just funny because I grabbed my daughter today. My daughter is a little under 22 months, and
Oh,
put her in front of a
congrats.
microphone and she started singing today, which is crazy to me. So it's almost like a full circle moment. My mom did that with me and my siblings, and now I'm doing it with my daughter. But yeah, I've always known music was the thing. Like it's just always been there. Like I said, I went to school for my undergrad and master's degree, and even after my master's degree, and all through the course, I was always producing for people and doing music. And then I started to do my own music, and that was basically the gig.
Nice. Do you take your I guess daughter to some of the um I guess studio stuff like that you're doing, or I guess she just picks it up from you as well, just because you're always jamming in the house, or how do you think she picks that up?
Well, my wife is also a musician, so my wife we're both signed. My wife was actually a signed artist, still signed with Warner and Universal Music Group, and she was actually in a rock band.
Nice.
It's just funny because I never really knew that until I found Rolling Stone magazine, her in the cover, in the middle page, and her band, and I was like, wait, what the heck?
Is this you?
7 months. Yeah, I'm like, this is you, like, dude, literally, like 7 months, 7 months into us dating, like, she never just told me about that. And I was like, why would you hide this? And she was like, no, I just left that life a long time ago. But, it was interesting to see. So my daughter's growing up in a home with like two people who sing. I'm currently working
Mhm.
on my album, but what a lot of people don't also know is in addition to working on my album and albums from other people, I'm also working on my wife's album. So my daughter gets to just hear music at any given time. And then there's been times when I've taken her to the studio. We have a pretty like, cool kid friendly studio, so she comes to her vibes. So yeah.
Nice. Is this the first time you and your wife have worked together? And I guess I'll ask the question because it's after Valentine's, so hopefully you don't get in trouble. Is it easy to work with the wife, the siblings, stuff like that, or y'all actually mesh good? Excuse me, in that one. And is this y'all's first time working, or y'all have worked a lot before?
Well, we've worked before. Like, I did shortly before we got married, about 3.5 to 4 years ago. I did like one of her first solo album because, like I said, she was always in a band, in a rock band, and I produced like I think it was 7 tracks, all the above. Did the music videos for it, everything. So like, I mean, is it hard to work with someone that you're intimate with? I think in many ways it is, but you make things work. Like that's the culture of being an adult. Like, we're also
Hmm.
professionals. Like I said, I do this for a living. I work with artists every day. And then what people don't know is as like I said, I wear the hat of musician, singer, songwriter, and producer. And sometimes in the same vein, I also have to wear the hat of like, mild therapist in a sense, because as a producer, you're bringing out like stories of people, and oftentimes they want to talk to you first, So it's a lot of that stuff. But yeah,
Nice. And I'm pretty sure I got to give you your mom's props because I think in your bio was where I think you said mom was kind of big.
huge inspiration.
She was big in Africa, correct? Like, am I correct, or like isn't she
It,
like
it,
known?
in yeah, in Nigeria, she was known, and
Okay, I said,
there's
baby,
maybe
give your mom
some
some
maybe
props. You know what I mean? Shout out, mom.
let's freaking go. Let's freaking
Um,
go.
nah, I gotta show love to mom on that. With I guess question because you were saying I think you said you made some of the I guess music video stuff like that. Um, I guess since you own the publishing I guess company on there is I guess is that kind of your mindset? You're just I guess super honestly creative in the sense of like you know how to make the beats, you see the vision for the music video go, you get the camera stuff like that, or you I guess maybe not really making the music videos, but it's more like hey, let me get so and so who I know is good with this directing stuff like that, or you humbly you know what I mean your stuff your shit. How is that?
Yeah,
Just curious.
I just, like there's this saying that goes thus, jack of all trades, a master of none. I don't believe that crap. I believe that you could be a jack of all trades and you can be very proficient at a lot of things. And over time, I've found that that has been my story, to be honest. I mean,
Mm.
look, my main discipline is music. I get in the studio, I know exactly what to do. I picked up the camera a couple of years back as, just a hobby, something to do in my pastime. And that camera has ended up like giving me a platform, even with NFTs, for example. But with my wife, I was able to do the music, and also we had someone else shoot the video, and they sent an edit of it. We didn't like it, and I decided to re-edit it myself.
Nice.
Like and some of those things I just learned on the go on YouTube. But yeah, I guess you could say I know what I want and I know what works,
Hmm.
and it's just a matter of getting it to go there. Sometimes I can do that from without strings attached, and sometimes I have to do that with like, from the whole nine, from the very beginning with strings attached. But yeah.
With the creative process is that I guess different from I guess like well shoot all three of them I guess is it different from making a excuse me like a beat producing it that way compared to writing a song and lyrics for someone and then doing the videos the edits is that process I guess different and to an extent of course it has to be but um overall, I guess are you visual where it's like, hey, you you see the beat in your head and you make it that way. You see the vision in your head there. I guess how is that creative process for you?
Well, with regards to production, I have this thing where I see colors when I produce. That's how I see music. I process music through colors. So like I'll create music based off of the mood that a certain color gives me, and it
Nice.
just works, you know. So like that's as far as how I see music. And like I said, I play chords, I play like the keys, I play the drums here and there and all these things. And in the grand scheme of things, I take all these pieces together and I just, you know, just work based off of inspiration. And that's typically what like the music creating process is for me. So just knowing what to do and how to do it and just basically piecing it together. Like even like for example, like even like the SpongeBob SquarePants record, like when I was given that, you know, brief, it was like, yo, we need something Afro, but also something that's leaning Afro, but something that's also very much pop music, you know, and something that feels like you're underwater, because obviously it was for the movie. And literally you get briefs like that. And as a producer, you have to come up with something that feels like African pop and underwater. And you know, and it just works. So yeah.
Nice. And then I guess, assuming it's yes, I guess they give you the full range on that. As when you're working something like that, you know, company, is it, hey, you know, they got, or what, three edits, two edits, you know, things like that. How many revisions, or um, unfortunately, say, well, I mean, heck, was that the first? If you can't speak on this, okay. Was that the first, I
No
guess,
worries.
beat and everything y'all made on that one, or how many beats did it take, honestly? Or were you like,
Nah,
okay,
to be real, that was literally it.
yeah, nice.
Like, and that's, you know, it goes without saying because that's rare sometimes. You know, but for me in that very season, that was it. Because yeah, I just knew what I was doing and what I was bringing to the table. Oftentimes, though, I've had records where I have to like, you know, I have to keep going back and back and back and back and like keep tweaking and like over this weekend, for example, I've already tweaked the record like 6 times.
With it. I
You
mean,
know, so
I guess that's fun in the process, and you got to be happy with what you're gonna put out, of course. So,
hmm
um, with, I guess, the kind of bring it to the NFT, I guess, crypto scene. How did you first get introduced in crypto in general? Was it just online, a buddy? What, I guess, what first got you introduced into crypto? Doesn't matter if it's BTC, Ethereum, you know, the Solana.
yeah, you know what's crazy about it? A friend of mine, um, this was back in, geez, man, what's this? This is like in 2011, no, 2012. I can't remember when exactly, but he had offered because I used to sell beats online also. Like I'll produce and just sell it while I was in college. And he had offered to pay me in Bitcoin. And I was like, no, thank you.
Come on, son.
And I was like, geez, like now knowing what I know now, I wish I could just time freaking teleport back to that very moment
You
and
know,
be
it's
like,
perfect.
yes, pay me in Bitcoin, you
It's
know?
2,000 Bitcoin list, and it's only like a penny right now. Yeah, you're fine. Like, oh my
Dude, you
gosh, bro.
know? But yeah, that's the thing. And I just never like got in, but I started to find out more and more about it. And I'm curious. You know, like I was saying today in a space that curiosity is the biggest reward for curiosity in this space is what's happening to everyone who's like successful in this space. Your curiosity doesn't kill the cat in this perspective. Curiosity only makes the cat wealthier if you if you're in the right pictures, right? And
For
that's how I've
sure.
been able to see it over time. But like my first venture outside of like knowing the technology and reading up on the Silk Road and Ross Ulbricht, I think that's how you say his name, and you know all those stories. My first venture was during the 2017 ICO craze, and I got
Hmm.
wrecked like crazy. And this is one of the first times when Bitcoin went past like $18,000, and everyone was like, "Yo, this is insane!" And everybody and their mom was buying high, you know,
Hmm.
and I got wrecked like crazy. So that was the first iteration of finding out about this space as far as crypto is concerned. But what I promised myself even after the wreck was that as long as I found an asset that was worth much more than the dollar, the US dollar, then there would always be a need for me to know exactly what it is. So I kept watching here and there, looking at things, and I'll buy Bitcoin here and there. It wasn't anything crazy. And then last year, actually, no, during the pandemic, I kept hearing about Clubhouse and Clubhouse this, and just never joined. And so sometime last year, approximately March, May, I decided to get into like I was hearing a lot about Beeple stuff. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, you know what, I'm going to do NFTs. I feel like I can sell. And so I had an album that had dropped in 2019. And it's funny because whenever you talk about people doing due diligence, like, or when you do art, like, so people started creating art because of NFTs. I didn't. I've been doing this for the longest. This is what I do in my life. Like, for example, I was talking to a friend and my album is about to drop, like, and I have my project, right? And I keep telling people vinyls are coming. These vinyls, they're not going to be filled with music I just made. I mean, some of the songs I'm making now, because we're 70% done with the album to 80%. But a lot of these things are going to be filled with songs that I've worked on over the past year and a half to two,
Nice.
because that's how long it takes to work on an album. Like it takes time to put out a body of work. And so every single thing that I've done, right, has been before I found out about NFTs. So my very first collection, for example, was it was the covers of each track on my sophomore album, which I remember when I was doing it, I had people tell me, dude, don't waste money on all this art. Just spend money on the cover art and the track list and the single you're gonna push. But
Mm-hmm.
for the love of the art, I was like, no, I gotta just do everything. And I did a single art piece for 12 tracks. Fast forward to
Nice.
2021, I'm actually able to sell those pieces. And I look at my friend and I'm like, look who's laughing now.
No, 100,
So
100%.
yeah.
We had someone, artist, honestly, his name was Sleeper. Same type of deal. He told one of his first pieces, and I asked him, I was like, bro, like, was that on the hard drive before? I guess it wasn't a hard drive. It was paintings and all. But I was like, was that beforehand? He's like, dude, it was from 10 years ago. Like it's
Yep.
crazy just to think about. At that time, it wasn't even the slightest thing in mind, and then lo and behold, and maybe in your case, it was to an extent. You know what I mean? But like, that's the awesome part where, shoot, I do some of the streaming stuff on the side, and one of my buddies produces some stuff, and I asked him the same thing because he does some decent stuff. Actually, I'll give him some props. He does some dope shit. But I told him, I'm like, bro,
Mm-hmm.
like, one of my buddies, acquaintance, I guess. We've known each other since high school. I'm not gonna be like we're best friends, but like we're
Yeah.
we're good. We talk. You know what I mean? But I told him, I was like, bro, like I want to have a couple beats because if you're streaming on YouTube or Twitch, copyright and everything else like that. But I'm like, yo, I'm not Miguel. I ain't no one thing. I ain't trying to buy like a regular beat. Like, yo, you got something on the hard drive
You
from
said
literally
Miguel,
12 years
man.
ago. Like, it's still fire. It's fire. I mean, he's like, yeah, I got you, bro.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's the beauty of it because honestly,
Yep.
like, even that one, it's like, bro, you can make something from back then and not even realize kind of what's going on and it come into to
Comes in
something
handy.
beautiful. Yeah. Um,
Absolutely.
with the I guess with the E stuff, because I kind of new-ish of you from Twitter Space. We kind of talked a little bit from Dead Fellas, because my buddy has one. I guess what got you introduced into to NFTs in general? Was it I guess ETH stuff like that, or um, a random
No,
other
it's just
blockchain? I guess
people.
what got you in? Oh, the Beeple. Touche.
Yeah, I just kept hearing about people. I was like, man, who's this guy? Like I was like, this is insane. Like the fact that he was doing those numbers. And
Yeah.
then I read an article about this one time when Beeple had given his NFTs for $1. And this girl had won it, or she got it for free actually. It wasn't $1. And obviously it's a Beeple piece, so it sells for crazy on resale.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I need to investigate this space. And I just started to do that. And then, first you get into your entry mode level, like, what is this? You want to make money. And then you realize, oh, shoot, there's a community here,
Yeah.
you know? And then you start getting into that. And then I started to build community um, within the Ethereum spaces. Whenever there was a space, I'll just request. Always. I didn't care. Like, I had no shame. I'm like, yeah, I'm coming up to speak. I will introduce myself. I will share my stuff. Like, I was always doing that, even without really understanding. But it was good for me because
Mm-hmm.
one thing about myself is I learn as I go.
Yeah.
Some people have to sit back and observe, but and I think I'm a mix of both. But in this space, I did learn as I went. And yeah, just basically that. So I was doing a lot of that. I was in a lot of spaces with Farouk or Shiny, Rock Radio, D's, John Knopf, and a lot of those guys friends with you. But yeah, that's what I started to get into. That's how I found out about it.
Nice. For people that are listening and shoot have Twitter but are always debating on coming in, talking, hitting that speaker button. Because a lot of people that come on, they say that is a thing, you know what I mean? Not exactly to go on the Twitter space exactly chill, so to say, but at the same time, like people can't know you or what's going on without you telling them, you
Hmm.
know what I mean? Just speaking and stuff like that. And you kind of just mentioned it right there on that, but is to the person that hasn't done it, is it worth it? I guess what advice would you tell a new producer, a new musician in general, coming into the space of crypto NFTs? Like what would you do coming in?
It's funny because I actually just spoke to a music guy prior, and I was like, what exactly is your goal?" And my advice is always tell people this. I'm like, yo, people in this space are hella smart, and you're not just gonna come here and play people in this space. It's not gonna work like that. And I was like, my advice for people is just, figure out why you're here, you know, and then when you figure out why you're here and you get into spaces, you realize why you should be here,
Yeah.
as opposed to why you were in the first place. If your motives weren't overly aligned. And hop in spaces. Sometimes people don't talk like I said, it also depends. If you're gonna be a collector and your gig is just to collect and flip, then you don't need to say nothing. You don't even need to be visible. Just do your thing. But if you
For
want
sure.
to be a creator slash builder in the space, then there's something to be said about knowing how to usher yourself into situations that are not like maybe what you're used to, So I'll just typically advise like if you can speak, if you can listen, if you can take time, observe, and then strike.
No, 100%. I like it. Is that what you did? I guess when you came over to Solana. Why? I guess what was your reasonings coming on here? How? Because overall, I think he said January of last year. I could be wrong, honestly, on that one. When I guess what was that reasoning of coming over? Well, I guess
With
how
with
did you?
with with Solana, it was interesting because, like I said, I was on Rug Radio with Farouk a lot, and I remember the day that Farouk had got, I think one of his friends got rugged on Solana. He had spoken out
Oh
against
shit.
Solana, and he's a huge influencer. So a lot of people saw that and they were like, "Oh, dang!" And I remember being on spaces saying, "Dude, like, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater." I just felt like in order for me to have stood a chance or to stand a chance in this space to be successful, I had to build. And a lot of people don't see from that perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And my first successful like flip slash mint was a Solana project. I was just curious and I minted the Aurori project.
Nice.
I remember it minted for just 100 because of the bad coding or whatnot. But I minted it for $100, sold it for 15 grand in the same day. And for me, I was just like, that's crazy.
No, I said,
So from
that was your first NFT sold in general?
no, no,
Or I guess
oh,
on Solana, like how
on
is that
Solana, yeah.
feeling?
Bro,
Well,
I
I
bought
guess
for
sorry to cut you off. Better question if
hmm
that wasn't the first one. When you first got into an NFT game, you're I'm sure we all want to have that crazy good flip or a good
hmm
strong you know I guess pointer on the market if you're doing the chart stuff like that.
hmm
How because you got to know how was that first feeling when you got like either the 15 grand or you know what I mean? Because I know my buddy I talked when he if he sold, I think he had a couple of DGen with the ape stuff like that, but like and some other Ethereum stuff with super strong, come ups. How is that feeling when you're like you look at the MetaMask and you're like, is this shit real? Like,
dude.
hold on,
When Fant, because I remember when the Aurori thing happened, bro. Like it was so crazy because the infrastructure was sort of broken with with Aurori. If you remember, right? It was
I
supposed to
came
be
out a little bit after, but I'm sure people that will be listening honestly will
yeah. So
understand.
it was supposed to be 5 ETH. This was in August. It was supposed to be sorry 5 Sol, not five ETH.
I was like, wait,
It
am
was
I
supposed to be a
tripping?
five. Oh, like 5 ETH. It was supposed to be a 5 Sol mint. That's the thing. And back then, 5 Sol was literally $500.
Mm-hmm.
So, dude, I just sold a piece of art on Foundation because I was hustling.
Mm-hmm.
So and I sold it for like it was like 1,500, but after gas and like transaction fees and all that, I maybe like had like 1,200 left or 11. And I basically took half of that money saying I'm going to use this into an NFT. But it just so happened that I think the coding was wrong or something. It ended up selling for 100 Sol instead of 500. So for 1 Sol instead of 5 Sol, which at the point was $100. So, dude, I literally like that day woke up and I was in front of my computer. And the thing is, I collect art IRL. Like I collect like cause pieces. I have a bunch of cause. And the
Nice.
thing with cause is you have to have fast fingers when you buy his stuff online because there are also bots trying to buy two and sell one and keep one and blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't really know much about bots back then for NFTs. I was
Yeah.
just like, yeah, I'm gonna try. As soon as 11 or something hit, I just kept going mint, 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 mint. And then it won't mint. Then I'll refresh. I'll go to the backup page. I ended up minting a purple skinned Aurori.
Oh.
And later that night, and it was just, that was the only one I minted. Dude, later that evening on Solanard, I just noticed people were listing. I was like, and I noticed one had sold for 150. I was like, dang, that went for 150. So, like, what the heck? No, it went for 100. So I was like, yo, I didn't expect it. Dude, literally, I just listed it at 7:30. I think
150.
7:30, just listed it for 150. And it wasn't greed or anything, but I was literally about to unlist it. I was actually unlisting it, and I was like, I'll just list it for
Starting to get
250
hot. It's
instead.
like, hold up.
Dude, within like 5 seconds of me listing, trying to relist and like putting that at 150, dude, someone snagged it. But I was still happy because I was like, yo, that's 150 from 100, from
Bro.
115 grand from 100. And dude, that just like, I was like, no. And that was literally that bitch, bro. It's crazy.
Nice, bro.
It's actually fun reminiscence. Like, dang. And just looking at that wallet, like, is this real? And I was like, no, this got to be real. So I was like, I have to transfer this to Coinbase to know it's real.
Yeah, I was gonna
And then
ask
I
because
did.
I had a buddy who he said the same thing. He's like, bro, he's like, I made a decent amount. You know what I mean? It's all like you said. It's one thing to see it in the Phantom Water, like, oh, you know what I mean? It's X amount of money, but like once you put it in like the account or way where it's like it's real, it's like that's a whole nother dang effect. You know, it's like, bro, it
It
is real.
definitely
You
is.
know,
It
um,
definitely is. Like that night, I remember I was in our studio office with my manager, and like I was like, yo, I'm about to order myself. Like I called my wife. I was like, babe, look at this. I sent her a screenshot,
yeah,
and I ordered like a freaking. There's this restaurant. It's a sushi spot here in Miami. I was like, I'm gonna
oh
order
yeah,
just to
dude.
know this is real. I'm ordering $150 worth of food for myself and my A&R friend. And dude, like I was like, yo, we celebrated. Dude, it was definitely a feeling, bro. It was definitely a feeling.
That's awesome, bro. That's sick.
Yes, sir.
Um, shoot, I guess selfishly, it sounds like I'm hoping to get one of those old feelings. But because I mean, honestly, like it's cool to hear, even like you talk about people like that because it's genuine, like you said, like it's like I guess you were. It has to be awesome just to actually think about it, like like again, like reminisce. It's one of those I don't know, those just cool things that I guess I want someone else to try and experience to an extent because even though someone might be listening, like people hear tone, people hear that, like it's one of those damn make you feel good moments. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Um,
100%.
with the project because just looking at the time, I already get you past the 30-minute mark, so I apologize on that. I won't keep you
No, it's
too
all
much
good.
longer, I promise. But the you are working on a project. I guess it already came out. I guess what's going on with that? Because you did mention, I know you said the vinyls before. Like you said, we are working on stuff from beforehand. Um, how does that correlate? And I guess what are you working on? What is it?
Man, dude, I'm super excited. So I've been, one of my biggest goals um in NFT space, Solana also, just period in NFT space, but in our ecosystem has been to champion um the format or the method or the creative expression through which musicians release on chain. And what I found is there still isn't like an appreciation for music as art, just as it is for visual art. Like people can place a 300 soul value on a piece of, visual art they can see, but I don't know of anyone who's placing that on a single MP3 file or a wave format file. And so I figured to myself that the best way to give, that offering, excuse me, will be essentially to give the best of both worlds um, in one piece. And so like the inspiration was essentially Kanye West, and Kanye has his project, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, which for me was one of the best like Kanye West albums, basically. And I remember going to Seattle. I was in Seattle or I think it was San Francisco with my wife, and we stepped into this store called Amoeba. And dude, like I found there's just a lot of records and all that. So I grabbed one of the records, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and I got back home to Miami and I opened it up. And dude, like there were like 5 pieces of art by George Kondo, and George Kondo is like he's a pretty up there artist IRL.
Mhm.
And I'm like, and George Kondo was responsible for some of the single covers um on that album. And I was like, yo, this is amazing. There's vinyl and there's art, there's music, and there's one-of-one art. I was like, okay. I was like, there's something I could do. And I was like, how can I, you know, in my quest to figure out how to challenge like the established order of things and challenge perspectives, it's how can I place worth and value on my music through art on chain. And so my album is about to come out. I'm really excited about it. It has a lot of features from like Danny Ocean to like Bean to Cadenza to a bunch of people. And
When's it coming out? Can you let us know the date?
I don't have a date yet, but it's
Okay.
definitely going to be. We're hoping for first, roughly second course, Q2, end of Q2, roughly. But the next project is going to drop. For the next project, which is the next iteration of this drop with the male robots, is definitely going to come out a little bit around that time, or
I
with
bet.
maybe even before with the release of a single first. Um, I'm working around the timing, but
For sure.
anyways,
Sorry to put you on the spot.
but yeah, no, no, it's okay. It's okay. That's cool. I talk about it all the time. It's still, it's a work in progress. But dude, like, so I was like, how can we create something to give value to my listeners? And with time, I started to introduce people to my music here and there, and my iteration as a one-of-one artist and all the above. And dude, you can check daramolasupply.co, which was my mint site, which is now it's like it should be on the link, and you see we
Hmm.
have a vinyl player there spinning and all that stuff, which will be an iteration of when people get the vinyl. So on this site, you'll be able to claim your vinyl, basically. But anyways, I was like, how can I give um, just dope art and dope music? And so what I did was I started working on the album, and the concept behind my album is simple. It's programmed to fall out of love, but fight until death to stay in love. That's basically the gist. And the main character is this robot guy, this robot fella, who's me. He's part robot and part skeleton. And obviously the robot's fighting hard to fall out of love, but the robot's programmed to fall out of love, and skeleton's like fighting hard to stay in love, fighting hard for the humanity and all of the above. And then you also have this other character who's a female robot, and she's fighting for the same thing. And so I figured, well, I'll create like an iteration of her. So we did like 450 pieces, pending, and those pieces come with a bunch of like a lot of access, and that was what my goal was. Is like, what's the next iteration or next level for a musician? In my opinion, the next utility was access. So in getting that female robot, you get, as a part of the Writers Guild, you get like royalty sharing opportunities. You also get, an airdrop of, an art piece, an art collab with like two of the most profound artists in our chain, one of one artists. You also get automatically whitelisted, and then when the whitelisting is done for the next project, you're gonna get like the album itself. You're gonna get like your, you know, vinyl record of the album, like just a bunch of things. And so that's what I did. So we did 450 pieces, sold at 1.5 sold out. As of today, we just crossed the 2000 mark, and we did 2000. We did 2000 Solanas in total volume sales,
Nice.
or
Congrats.
total volume trades, which is insane. Like with 450 and an average of 30 listed over the past 3 weeks, the floor has been pretty cool. It's been a healthy 10x from entry, and freaking 2000 sold. I can't make that up. So, people want something new and they're really excited. So, yeah.
Not on. And you kind of, I guess, explain it on there from concept of, I guess, making like I guess the concept you already had there, but I guess like from finding like artists for someone that might be thinking of making honestly an NFT or a project, stuff like that, who's like, hey, I want to do, hopefully not the copycat stuff, but like I want to get into the scene and do the stuff. Um, was it a hard, I guess, finding the artist, stuff like that? Were you the artist, or I know sometimes with different projects in general we've had on, it's been literally like cousins or family members, or they've literally reached out on Twitter. Um, how long did that process take? And realistically, did you have any hiccups like along the way? And if you did,
Not,
how did you get over them?
not at all. I actually didn't. Like, my plan
Hell
was to
yeah.
keep, like, for example, my plan was to keep like the Discord as organic as possible. So when you get into Discord, typically it's a lot of chatter, a lot of noise, a lot of notifications. But on this one, it's like super quiet. You can literally come in there and just chill, say what's up. So I put the Discord together, and we just started building it, man. Honestly, like, and I have a genuine story and it's genuine music, so I think it was always gonna thrive. But yeah, I bought like, man, I bought like so much time to dedicate myself to making sure that, because time is money when you
Yeah.
really think about it, right? I was like, man, how can this be a success? And to be very honest with you, I didn't overly expect. I mean, I didn't expect like the floor to be where it's at. I didn't expect 2000 sales volume. That for me, that's like
Is
insane. That's
is
crazy.
that the same feeling as, I guess, selling like your first, um I guess honestly NFT, or I guess realistic question, because I've never honestly, I've sold one NFT in general the whole time, and never made a project. So I'm assuming honestly with the money that to an extent had to be one a lot more than that. But like, is that realistically a different feeling because the money would be different, or excluding money, like is it like a different feeling on, hey, I had this piece of art I did, but now, hey, I made a collection and an actual project, you know what I mean? And it sells out, it's doing well. Are those type of feelings the same or similar, not the same? How, or have you ever honestly thought about it?
Well, man, it's a lot
Yeah, I mean,
because
it has to be honestly a kind of weird question I'm
yeah,
asking, because it
no, no,
some is
it's
with the
just
money,
not.
but it's an interesting, just because like,
It's not. It's not weird. You know what? For the sake of people here, I want you to ask it in the most simple format. So ask it again. Just give me a one sentence question.
realistically, is it a different feeling from creating a project and selling it compared to flipping an NFT and
Okay.
making a flip?
It's a and I'm glad you asked it again because I wanted to reiterate it for people. It's 1,000% different, and I'll tell you why. When you flip, you have no responsibility.
True.
You, like you're flipping. Okay. I bought a project, 150, 1.5 sold for for 20. So great flip. But when you sell out, depending on the kind of person you are, I'm the kind of person that I love to deliver. Like, this is my life. Music is my life. I'm fully doxxed. Like, I'll come online right now, but I look super enough to like,
You're good.
I'm in shorts and whatnot. But if you want to check me out, like I'm saying this live, literally, ITS Daramola, go on Instagram. My whole life is there, my family, my career. As a matter of fact, you go on Google, type in Daramola. Like, it's funny. The guy who made the trade with me for my dead fella today, he sent me a dead fella first. In this space, you don't do that.
Yeah.
Like the deal was, we'll trade dead fella for dead fella plus an extra ETH, right? I was like, send me the request, so I can. That'll be the extra ETH. And I was like, but send your dead fella first, and he sent it. And that takes a lot of trust. And I told him, I was like, Doug, if you need to know, I'm dark side build community. I won't jeopardize that. You know what I'm saying? So as a creator, the feeling of that, of you making that money is beautiful because you just sold out. It's like, dang, this is crazy. But a little after the this is crazy speech, as a real builder, what comes after that is, oh, shoot, now I got to like go to work,
No, for
because these
sure.
guys have like, they've really like, so just to see the success, or just to see that people have actually flipped, that just gave me so much joy because I'm like, man, like I'm proving to people that there is liquidity here.
No, 100%. Last couple questions, and I guess to try and bring shoot some positivity, even if people are unfortunately flipping your project. To an extent, honestly, man, you never know what that flip of your project. Because I saw it was up at like 19 at one point. I think like even right now it's, I think like you said, it's the what anywhere from the 8 to 12 ish. I don't understand exactly where it's at, where, but like realistically, that part of it can be changing someone else's life, bro. Like for the better.
Oh,
So like one, just I guess know that part. You know what I mean? Like for real, like it might be like, oh
yeah.
damn, but like $1,000, $2,000, 15 grand is, some people are like, all right, but other people it's like, bro. So one, congrats on that one. With the, I guess the vision, the vision, and I guess the, well, that's the big question. The legacy, I guess for you, I guess you want to be
Hmm.
known with the music artist. I mean, of course, like I'm sure, like just a good genuine person. But I guess what do you want to be your
I
legacy,
mean,
bro?
my music, whenever I strive to make music, or from the very beginning, the goal was to change lives. Like literally, like every musician should want to do. I mean, I'm yet to meet a musician who doesn't care about changing someone's life. And changing someone's life can be as simple as what you do in the spur of the moment, like giving someone that feeling, a soundtrack to the things that happen to you in life. And that's always been my goal. So from day one, with every single album I've released, it's been to give people, like, dude, like, from the concept to this album, right? Being programmed to fall out of love, but fighting to death to stay in love. That's huge.
That's
Like, and
deep.
that happens to us every day in life. You wake up in the morning, you're desensitized when you watch TV. You're programmed to fall out of love, but then you're fighting to death to hold on to the things that are important in in the middle of all the noise. So my legacy is that I always tell people this, and I heard this in a sermon once actually at church, and this pastor was saying he wants to die empty, and I didn't really understand what that meant, but I started to read more into the logic and idea, and dude, I want to die empty. I want it to be that I gave my all to everything that I did.
That's deep,
Like
bro.
I,
I
I
like it.
literally gave it all. So even with
No,
this
no.
project, and even with this project, I really want people to enjoy the music. Like, I want them to really vibe with it. Like, and then for people who have traded my NFTs, I'm pretty sure I've changed their lives in some form or fashion. You might have needed exit liquidity, and the strength of the project, yeah, and the strength of the project was tangible enough for you to actually get out, and get out high. That's a good thing. So like, but my goal ultimately is just, to change people's lives with a conversation. So
No,
yeah.
100%. And I would say shout out to the music because, like you said, on I guess with you there, that's kind of how I figured out. I remember, and one time I came over to the spaces. I think it was you and Peanut, the only two people in there, and like I
Hmm.
I knew honestly you were big overall, but I'm not the type of person to be always googling like, oh, dude, who's this? Who's this? I'm just like, I'm either gonna sound like an idiot or something. I'm like, yo, like I know you're big, but like I ain't trying to dick ride or nothing like that. You know what I mean? But like, I appreciate that. Like, honestly, you're just real and everything like that as well. So, people that I guess are listening, where can they find you at? What are the best platforms? Is it Twitter? You got it with the Spotify, and
Absolutely. You could
where's
just
the good
literally go on.
spots?
Yeah, just go on Spotify, type in Dharmola. I'm verified on there. You can listen to my music, all my albums, all the above. Instagram, I post on Instagram a lot. I haven't been since I started doing Twitter, but I still try to keep it, gully. You'll find me. There's a blue check mark there. There's some fake it's Daramolas, but just follow the blue check mark one. It's ITS Daramola, the same name with my Twitter name. And obviously on Twitter, on YouTube, type in Daramola. I'll pop up, and you'll find all my content there, and you can listen to the music. As far as NFT talk and all that stuff, that's mostly on Twitter. I host a show on Rug Radio on Thursdays called Sound Advice, but I just bring in music professionals from the industry who also are entangled in Web3 just like we are. And it's gonna be fire. Yeah, you can find me in all those spaces.
Nice. And the music is quality as well, because I remember when I first saw it and heard it, I went on Spotify because, you know, sometimes you go to people's music and it doesn't sound crisp, clean. I'm like, yo, this shit's fresh, bro. So,
I
of course, you already
appreciate that.
know, but
Thank
keep
you.
it up on that one.
Thank you.
Last thing, I guess, in general, any last concerns, comments, anything you've, I guess, wanted to either let the community know or something we haven't really talked about that you would like to let people know?
The supply chain is here to stay.
I like it.
The supply
Ladies
chain
and
is here to
gentlemen,
stay.
supply chain.
It's here to stay. May the chain live forever. That's literally the motto. It's literally that. May the chain live forever. Like, I'm really excited about this project. I'm passionate about it. This is not no slow rug. It's not one of those projects that you just get in and, bro, you can see it's 29 listed, 450 supply, 2,000 Solana's worth of trading volume. That's insane. It's really here to stay. A lot of solid people in the project. People are excited for something new. People want a new experience, and I believe that they've gotten, you know, just a little piece of that with the art. And you know the funny thing, we haven't even done the airdrops, dude. When we do the airdrops, bro, like, people who know, I don't even know where to start, but when those airdrops happen, it's gonna be insane. And then we still have the mail robots come in. We still have the digital booklet come in. We still have the vinyl come in. We still have this is a lot, you know. So, but, you know, long story short, for those who don't know, just know this, that there are really solid projects out there. People, genuine builders, and I like to consider myself in that bunch. I want to build something pretty cool. And I want people in the music industry to be able to take this and use it for themselves also. So, yeah.
100%, man. And I guess, I'll just add my 2 cents in sense of, I appreciate, I guess, how overall you are doing it. Because kind of like you said before, I mean, you're not just celebrity coming in and be like, hey, we're doing boom, boom, boom. You like you said, you're in there, you're in the space. People see the genuineness on that one as well. So I'm happy about the project, and be of course keeping an eye on it in general, because might have some wings, you know what I mean? Might spend a little.
Let's go.
But you know,
let's go.
On that note, I'm gonna go ahead and end it. Kind of like before, I'm gonna go ahead and mute for a quick, 30 seconds or so. But for a minute, I want to say thank you for coming on, taking some time out of the evening, and let me go a little bit longer. Actually, a lot longer than those 30 minutes on my bad. Hopefully, I get at you.
No worries.
Appreciate it, bro.
No worries. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you.
Hey, 100%. All righty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you know what time it is, big baby. Once again, shout out to It's Daramola. Thank you very much for coming on, tuning in, showing some love. If you're not already, go hit the follow on all platforms, as well as ThugBirdz on Twitter, ThugPod, and ThugDAO. Till next time, y'all, stay fresh, stay clean, stay positive. Hey, you know what time it is.